Male leopards can be full of fun and joy and excitement. Oh dear, there's a bit of tortoise foot that just poked out there that he's busy munching on. This story doesn't concern Vutomi, but it does concern a male leopard that many of you will be familiar with, a young male leopard known as Sindile, Karula's grandson. When Sindile was roughly this age, I had seen him in the morning, and I went back to where he had been that afternoon, and he wasn't around, so I thought, okay, well, I'll go for a little bit of a walk to see if I can find him. He keeps looking up behind him. He's very, very nervous. There's nothing there, though. But it's good that he's on alert, especially when he's on his own like this. But yes, back to the story. I went for a walk to go and see if I could find him, and then realized I'd strayed a little bit far from the vehicle. It was time to start getting back so that we could continue our live safari. And while I did, something made me turn around. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a sound that I consciously heard, but something made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. And when I turned around, there was little Sindile play stalking me from around about 10 feet away. I mean, he was really very, very close. And that is just what young male leopards do. It was such a special moment because we then proceeded to play hide and seek almost, or peekaboo, all the way back to the vehicle. I would walk a little way and then stop and turn around, and he would freeze. And then I'd walk a little bit more, and he'd follow me a little bit, and then I'd stop and turn around, and he would freeze. Now, at no point did I feel any sense of a threat from him. It was pure playfulness and curiosity. He wasn't going to hurt me. He was too small to hurt me. He just wanted to see what would happen. And after that, once I returned to the vehicle, and he did follow me all the way back to the vehicle, we watched him try to pretend to hunt a waterbuck bull, which definitely, he was about Vutomi's size, so that was definitely far beyond his capabilities, and then he even tried to pretend to hunt a buffalo. So it just goes to show how incredibly unexpected little male leopards can be, which is why we're going to sit patiently with Vutomi and wait to see if he finishes his tortoise. And welcome to Emmanuel on our beautiful, beautiful safari. Lovely to have your question. Now, Emmanuel, you want to know if the cubs have a relationship with their fathers, or if this particular cub will. Emmanuel, not really. They do know their fathers, and their fathers do know them. Generally, their fathers are the dominant males in the area, or at least their suspected fathers are the dominant males in the area. The fathers don't play any kind of a role in raising the cubs, but they do occasionally, or are seen occasionally, sharing kills with the mother and the cubs. That often happens. Now, this particular cub, I know I've complicated things with this whole family tree. This particular cub's father is thought to be a male leopard called Shimbambalana, and that is another one of Karula's sons. Now, last week I mentioned that this area is dotted with offspring of the Queen of Djuma, so Shimbambalana is probably the father of this little cub. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Shimbambalana's younger brother, Quarantine, was recently seen mating with this cub's mum. Don't worry if that is all a little bit confusing. I'm sure as you join us over the course of the next few weeks, you'll get to know the leopard characters almost as well as we do, and you'll start to get a sort of a grasp on who's who in what is definitely not a zoo. Munching away, crunching through that tortoise. You can see those beautiful long white whiskers. Isn't he just extraordinary? While we patiently sit with Vutomi and wait for him to finish his hard-shelled breakfast, let us head over to James so that he can show you a different perspective on this beautiful world.
Welcome back to the tent, everybody. Quickly, your answers to the quiz. 10% of you said fact 1, 20% of you said fact 2, and the remainder got it correct. Unfortunately, you said fact 3. You were all much too clever for me today. You all said that male lions are, in fact, very good hunters, which they are, very good. Now, let us take to the air for a tremendous, tremendous sight. That, everybody, is a beautiful Wahlberg's eagle, and it is just an astounding perspective of this bird. Look at him watching the drone go round. Isn't that stunning? Now, these birds, everybody, come back to this area every single year. They migrate into northern Africa, and then they come down to breed every single year down here. And this gorgeous chocolate-coloured Wahlberg's eagle is being filmed by drone commander Connor Teagues. What a fantastic shot that was. Isn't that astounding? It's just beautiful. My name is James Hendry, if you have just joined us, and we're going to show you a little bit about where we are in the world shortly. We are sitting currently in the 8.5 million acre wilderness that is the Greater Kruger National Park. We're on the western fringes of that, on a little place called Djuma, a beautiful game reserve open to the rest of this incredible wilderness area. I just find it a great privilege to be living here, and even a greater privilege to be bringing you these stories. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. Send us your comments and your questions. It will be lovely to hear from you at any stage. Now, Stefan has gone from the most enormous down to something slightly more creepy.
Slightly more freaky, James. Thank you very much. Yes, we've got a millipede for you. Have a look at that. That is a millipede. He's curled up a little bit because of the fact that I've just picked him up. But why this millipede is hanging around is because of what's going on at our feet now. And I want to show you what's going on over here. Here are two millipedes mating with one another. And the reason why this one's hanging around in the area is so that he can hope to usurp this mating. Now, what you don't realize is that the mating actually happens here. There's the male and the female trying to clasp. The male, they've just separated. That's actually quite amazing, you know. I've never actually watched them separate with one another. This is the female. She's got her genital opening at the 4th segment. The male is this smaller one here. He has his genital opening at the 7th segment. Just look at the size of these guys. Let me put them in the open there for you. Let's see if he wants to come and play a bit. There you go. Now, they are, there you go, you can see there's some fluid still. And the clasper that he used to insert into the female. Isn't that awesome? There he's tucked it away. That's actually a very unique view of that whole process. Wow. Look at that. So now the female will go off. She lays about 200 eggs at a time. She'll lay about 1,000 eggs a year. The male has no further, I think he's battling to tuck himself away over there. Have a look at that. The segments have actually separated. Look at that. That's very interesting. Wow. You know, it's every day you learn something new out here. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, and this is the first time I've really taken a notice of exactly what's going on and what those appendages look like. So, yeah, look here, look. This male is coming to try and force the female open. He wants his turn. Look at that. Wow. He's going to force her open. He's going to look at the way he's using his legs to tickle her back. That's quite common. Forcing himself or her open so that he can dislodge the other male's sperm. He's actually managed to clasp. Look at that. Let's turn them over so you can see exactly what's going on there. There you go. Move some of the bushes out of the way. Wow, that was incredible. And while there are two males in the areas, the female will be giving off some pheromones here that would be driving these male millipedes mad. And what this male is going to try and do now is try and wash out the rival's sperm and obviously get a chance to fertilize all those female eggs on his own. Here we go. Never ceases to amaze us, Archie. Alright, on that weird note, why don't we send you over to Brent and those lions.
This little lion has literally got to the heart of the buffalo. I'm just trying to reposition so we can see it. You can actually see the aorta and other different valves in that heart. Oh no, he's dropped the heart. He's eaten half of it already. Let's see if he picks it up again. Now you can see they've gone right in to all those internal organs, those nutrient-rich pieces that help them survive. Now, I'm hoping he's going to pick up that heart. He might move away from the kill with it, and that could be really, really amazing to watch. So we are about to go into a little break. So hopefully we'll get to the heart of the situation just after this. Oh, there we go. He's got the heart. Now, literally, I'm hoping he shows. You can actually see those massive blood vessels and veins and arteries that come in and out of the heart. What's it? The superior vena cava? The anterior. And the anterior vena cava. Now, I think all the blood is definitely out. He's lapped it all up. Yum, yum, yum. I'm just trying to think, if we move around, maybe we can see more into the cavity. Looks like he's decided to... No, he's going back for it now. Maybe he's just eaten too much. Yep. Oh, what's he looking for next? No, I think the belly is too... Oh, look at that. Can't eat any more heart. It's too full. Oh, but here comes the female. Will she pick up the heart? Nope. Hop over. This is absolutely amazing. Oh, look at that. Look at the strength of that lioness. She might try flip the carcass. You can see her claws coming out, gripping into the skin. Oh, that looks better than the spot I was eating. Oh, there we go. She might try and move the carcass into some shade, even the shade of that small tree right there, to hide it from vultures. It's amazing that little bit of movement created all the fat-bellied cubs are thinking, oh, well, maybe I can fit one more morsel. Okay, I think let's move around. Let's see if we can get a view from the other side. Okay, well, we meander through the bush to get another view of that buffalo carcass. Let's go back to Jamie and Vutomi.
Vutomi has finished off his tortoise kill and is now doing a very thorough job of cleaning off his paws. He's moved out into the open beautifully for us, glancing over his shoulder, pulling off the perfect leopard pose. Yes, little gorgeous boy, you've got your mother's eyebrows. Yes, you do. Here he goes. I wonder what his plans are from here. The good news is, and we'll go into more depth about this when TV returns, the good news is he's looking very full and in very good condition. While we wait for our TV audiences to rejoin us, we'll just enjoy this view of a lazing leopard. No, oh, perfect. Thank you, little boy. Daisy, you wanted to know whether or not all of the leopards in this area are related somehow. No, Daisy, not all of them. You'll find that there is a lot of connectedness between the various leopards that we see, because especially with females, they tend to stay close to the area that their mother's territory is in. For the males, though, they often can actually disperse over 200 miles or so when they do get to the age where they can be territorial. But a lovely question from you, Daisy, and as you watch us over the course of our series, of our live TV series, you will be able to get to grips with the different leopard characters and will be able to explain in greater depth the way in which they are all connected. The one leopard that is responsible for a large number of the various leopards that we see is Queen Karula, the Queen of Djuma. She has offspring dotted around the area, and there's a good chance that you're going to meet more of them in the future. But little Vutomi, well, in theory, he is actually Karula's grandson, or thought to be Karula's grandson. It's difficult to know for certain with leopards, but they suspect that a male called Shimbambalana is his father. Now, Shimbambalana is Karula's son, therefore making little Vutomi Karula's grandson. So yes, there is usually a degree of connectedness, but not with all of the leopards that we see, and especially not with the males, particularly not with territorial males. Now, little Vutomi, on his own, hello boy, what you hearing? What are you hearing? You looking for another meal? Are you going to attack another hapless tortoise, perhaps? Now, little Vutomi's got the first taste of the future that awaits him. At some point in the next few months, he's going to have to disperse off and move off on his own. A warm welcome to Magnolia, who would like to know, and it's funny you should ask this because I've just been thinking the same thing. Magnolia, you want to know how big Vutomi is compared to Hosana, Karula's son. Now, my suspicion, Magnolia, is that they're actually roughly the same size. He has seen something. I'm just trying to see what he's seen. There's a wildebeest, that's what he's looking at. You can't hunt a wildebeest. He's much too big for you. Sorry, Magnolia. He's going to pretend to, though. Look at him. Look, he's practicing his stalking. Oh, you clever little man. It's not going to work, though. He's far too big. See? Told you young males are curious, and sometimes a little bit too brave for their own good. Magnolia, I think he's the same size as Hosana. In fact, I think Hosana's neck is already thicker, which is interesting, because Vutomi's older. But we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Let's just watch what he does. Look at you. You are so naughty. And this is all very, very important practice for the day when he has to leave his mom for good and he can no longer rely on her for food. But even when he is a fully grown male leopard, a blue wildebeest is not really going to be on the menu. Yeah, you've been spotted already, mister. And the blue wildebeest... Oh, there's that snort. He's seen the movement. He's not terribly impressed. That was completely without guile or technique, mister. You have to do a little bit more practicing. But that's okay. He's not even 2 years old yet. He's allowed to make mistakes. Watching the wildebeest. I promise you, I would stick to tortoises for now, mister. That is not going to work. You might even find yourself getting chased if you're not careful. A wildebeest can and will turn the tables on Vutomi if he can, or if Vutomi gets too close, he'll chase him right back. Yes, I think perhaps it's time to think twice about that. So our little Vutomi looks a little bit embarrassed and decides what he's going to do next. Let's go and have a look at a closer view of a leopard's facial structure.
Well, this is what little Vutomi was eating. A tortoise, and you can imagine, you have to have some pretty good teeth in order to eat a tortoise like this, and that is what Vutomi has done. This is a leopardess's skull, so it's not quite the same size as Vutomi's. He's almost this size, but not quite yet. And I think interesting that Jamie was saying she thought that he's roughly the same size as Hosana. I would agree. He's probably about Magnolia. I think he's probably about the same height. But Hosana is a stocky little fellow. He looks more stocky than young Vutomi over there. Now, Stef was talking about danger earlier. He was with a potentially dangerous animal. I'm going to show you from this tent what I think is the most dangerous animal in Africa. Have a look at this. There it is. That is the most dangerous creature on all of this continent, everyone. Not buffalo, not crocodiles, not lions or leopards or charging rhinoceros. Oh no, the mosquito. And that is a mosquito there. And you can see in the front, on the bottom left-hand side, you can see his proboscis sticking out there. And the reason I say he's so dangerous, or she is so dangerous, of course, because women are infinitely more dangerous than men in all species. She is the deliverer of malaria, which, of course, is the disease that kills the most people in Africa. Isn't that astounding? Still in 2017, that is the case. Now, we're going to go back to the lions, but we're going to go there from the air. There we are. There is Brent, and there are the lions, little cubs strewn about the place, a carpet of lions, and one or two still feeding. And it just gives you a perspective there on how close the killer bees are to those lions. I mean, that cannot be more than 10 feet from them. And what that lioness is doing there is probably burying some of the innards of that buffalo, which are a bit more distasteful. So the stomach contents don't taste so good. And what I'd like Brent to tell us now is what he's smelling. Brent, what does it smell like?
Look at that, isn't that incredible? You can see us from up in the sky. There's this lioness right next to us who's been burying the stomach contents and some of those stomach juices. And the reason she does that, she's going to do it again now, is to mask the smell. There are hyenas around, so most of the cats will bury stomach content to try hide the smell of their kill from other predators. Now remember, this is 100% live, coming to you from the incredible Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa. Now this is a very fresh kill. So if I go, it doesn't smell too bad. It smells like a bit like undigested grass, so sort of like you've been mowing the lawn a little bit, add some water, and then the meat itself smells a bit like a butchery. So not a very unpleasant smell, and in a day or two, however, this would be the most terrible place to be, and it would be absolutely honking rotten flesh. Now, even though it smells very nice now, sometimes when we're sitting in positions like we are now, about 5 feet from the lions, and they walk up to us and they deposit some dung, it can make your eyes water, it can make you cry, because lion dung has to be some of the most vile feces on the planet, since they do eat almost purely protein. Oh, she's doing a big cover-up job there. Now, you can have a look how she's covered all the blood, or what's left of the blood, and there we go. That's the main source of all the undigested grass in the buffalo's stomach, and she's buried it as best she can. And that'll just help mask the smell from spreading too far. Now, with as I said, with a fresh kill, it probably won't go too far, but in a day or so, if they're still here, the smell of rotting meat will permeate the air, attracting possibly hyenas or even other lions. Now, of course, there are no male lions here at the moment, and that's not unusual. Male lions do spend a lot of time away from the prides. We have got 4 male lions that call this area home. They're called the Birmingham Boys. They're a coalition of 4, and they rule over 3 different prides. So they could be with one of the other prides at the moment. So from a female lion's point of view, that's a great thing, because if male lions were here, they definitely take the lion's share, and they would tolerate the cubs feeding, but they wouldn't really tolerate the adult lionesses as much, and there could be quite a bit of argy-bargy around the carcass. And you can see she's actually come even closer to us now. Now, if Brian comes down a little bit, you might even see the side of our look at that. Look how close that is. She is not even 2 feet from us, and she's completely ignoring us as she buries that stomach content. You can see there's a wound on her shoulder, and that looks like a bite mark, and that's probably almost certainly from fighting over food. So the fact that they are quite full, they killed a buffalo earlier in the week, they're not that desperate for food, so if they were very hungry, we'd see a lot more aggression around this carcass. But it is absolutely incredible that these animals completely ignore us when we're mere feet away from them. Now, as I was saying, the male lions move between the different prides, and there's a major misconception that lionesses do all the hunting. Males do a lot of hunting when they're by themselves because they have to patrol continuously to stop other male lions coming in and taking over their territory, because if other male lions were to come in here, all these cubs would be at risk. So when a new coalition or a new group of male lions moves into an area, the first thing they'll try to do is kill all the cubs of their predecessors. And the reason they do this is to try force the females into estrus, so they will start mating again, so the new lions can have their genetic line passed on. But I think we're quite safe for the moment. The Birmingham boys are in their prime. They're about 6 years old, and I think it would take a really ferocious young group of rebels to try push out those dominant male lions at the moment. And I was really hoping that they might come and join us at this buffalo kill. But of course, there's always next week. And it is really exciting that you're able to follow the lives of these incredible animals, not for just one drive, but for 8 weeks. We've done 2 weeks, so we're going to be going on for the next 6 weeks following the incredible animals of our little gem, this little area of the world. Now, Stef's been with elephants on foot. He's been with hyenas on foot. He's now going to teach you a little bit about how to survive on foot.
We decided to reward ourselves with a fire. And for those of you just joining us, my name is Stef and we are on foot in the middle of the Kruger National Park, the same place that Brent and Jamie are driving around. And one of the things that I like doing over here is sharing some of my bushcraft and bush knowledge with you. And one of the things that I like doing most is making an egg in an orange. Yes, you heard me, taking an orange, one standard issue orange, and cooking an egg in it on a fire. Now, why would you do this? Well, it's quite easy to find fruit and eggs in almost any environment. So, of course, you can do a fruit, you can do an egg of any of the fruit that are most common around you. Well, I'm getting fried by my fire. And the trick is to make a very hot fire that gives you some coals, to cut the top off your orange. I've done that so long. And then to hollow out the orange on the inside. It's quite nice because obviously it rewards you a little bit. And then, once you're done, is to crack an egg into the orange shell. Now, the reason why it doesn't burn is because of all the water in the actual orange peel itself. So crack the egg in. Then, scrape yourself a place here next to the coals and place the orange peel in there, using the lid of the orange as a pot cover to stop all detritus going in there. And then you just turn it around from time to time, make sure you're cooking evenly, and voila, you have it. Now, you're going to be going away for a break in the next little bit. Please don't go anywhere, because when you get back I'm going to show you exactly what herbs we add here, and you will see me eat this egg. Here we go. And you've seen me doing this from time to time, and except that I've never done it with an orange before. And the reason why I tried to do it with an orange this time was because the segments are bigger, so it gives you a bigger pot. I was always finding with a clementine or a nachi that the skin would sometimes break. And this way, at least, it gives us the chance to put little bits and herbs and bits and pieces into the actual mix. And that's what I'm going to be looking for over the next couple of minutes while this egg gets going. I'm going to be looking for some herbs to add to our egg, and specifically I'm going to be looking for mustard from the cleome, and I'm going to be looking for basil from the ossamum plant, which we should get around here. I don't see any around exactly where I'm sitting at the moment, but I'm sure that with a little bit of searching we will be able to find it without too much of a problem. First, let's check on the progress of our egg. It is definitely getting warm, which is good. That's what we want. Eggs are best cooked slow. Just put the cap back on. Ow! This fire is warm. And that's exactly what you want. You want a bit of a hot fire it gives you these fast burning coals, but you don't want it on flame. I always found flame burns it a little bit too quick and you ruin it a bit. Let's prep this, get some wood out on the side, hem it in a little, which gives us the chance of putting some more coals all the way around it. And the orange also gives us a lid which stops all the detritus from going in there. But while I go and look for my herbs, you'll come back obviously in a little bit and we'll see how the progress is going. Jamie is still with those leopards. Off you go.
Sounds like Stef has been having a really lovely stroll through the bush this morning, seeing all of those leopards and everything else. In the meantime, we are still with Vutomi, who's been for a stroll of his own and has come across a relatively unpleasant-looking breakfast. I think he's scavenging off a buffalo carcass. That's what it looks like. Is that what it is? Sorry, I went quiet there for a second. No, I think it is. I think it's an old buffalo carcass, perhaps a lion kill that was left here with just a little bit of meat on it. It doesn't look like there's much, though, for him to scavenge. It's almost as though he's eating a little bit of biltong, or beef jerky, as it's known in the States or the rest of the world. He's basically just chewing on a little bit of leathery skin. Oh, it's impossible for us to know whether or not he's had any interaction with his mum since she was mating with quarantine. And I wonder if this is how he hasn't been getting by while she's been away. Searching for things to nibble on, to snack on. And they are, of course, such consummate scavengers. I think that's a buffalo scapula. That's what it looks like. You can see the intense concentration on his face as he crunches through the bone. What a lovely surprise you were, mister. Seeing as I've never seen this leopard before. I'll just have to wait for Nkanyeni to return to him. You can see him using that carnassial shear that I'm sure James touched on earlier as he tries to crunch and get any bit of nutrients out of the bone that he can. Hard work, though. Working in conjunction with his rough sandpaper tongue. It's almost quite half-hearted, actually, this whole chewing motion. This is not the easiest meal you've chosen. Perhaps a search for another tortoise might be more in order. Imagine how tired his jaw must be. He's just crunched through a tortoise shell. Now he's trying to crunch through some buffalo bone as well. He hasn't given himself a very easy morning this morning. But this is a good spot for him. We're not far at all from the waterhole, which means that there will be animals coming through to have a drink. Quite possibly even a little antelope, which would definitely be within his powers to catch. Perhaps just waiting patiently for Mum, biding his time. The little teeth. Licking and chomping away. Wrapping his paw around, giving us a brief glimpse of those razor-sharp claws of his. And a very warm welcome back to your live adventure safari here from the middle of the Greater Kruger National Park with one of the most special little creatures. My name is Jamie, and as I said, we are live in the top northeastern corner of South Africa, where we can see all kinds of amazing things in this 8.5 million acre wilderness area, conservation area where the animals can live wild and free as they have done for generations before this. This beautiful little leopard, for those of you that have just joined us, his name is Vutomi, and you are watching what he is doing right now, first thing in the morning here in South Africa. And because this is live, it is 100% interactive, which means that you can send through your questions or your comments. Perhaps you'd like to chat a little bit about Vutomi, and you can do that using the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. And while he looks around, we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing in a moment. Ricky, you wanted to know how big of an area leopards will hunt in. It depends upon whether or not they are females or males. Both are territorial. Females tend to have slightly smaller territories than males. It will also depend on the area that you're in. So next to rivers, the territories are smaller because there's more food. Away from rivers, away from big water sources, the territories are much larger. The Queen of Djuma has a territory of around, give or take, 2,000 hectares, which is 2,000 football fields, whereas the big dominant male in this area moves around an area of almost 8,000 hectares, so 8,000 football fields. So it differs in different areas. Now, for this little guy, he of course doesn't have a territory. He's only 14 months old. He's only just over a year old. So he hasn't got around to establishing his territory, and he just moves about with his mom. And we spoke earlier about the fact that his mom has been away, and he is all on his own for now, and he seems to have found his next meal of the morning. Earlier on, he was crunching through the shell of a tortoise. Now he's somehow managed to find himself the remains of a buffalo kill, but a very, very old pile of remains. I mean, that skin must be like leather. He can't be getting all that much out of it, but I think this is probably how he's been getting by whilst Mom's been away. Now, all leopards scavenge. In fact, all predators will scavenge generally, except maybe for cheetah and very seldom wild dog. But our big cats absolutely do scavenge, and that's what he's doing at the moment. A very, very clever survival technique. Now, speaking of clever survival techniques, I think it's time to send you across to Stef, who's going to teach you how to cook breakfast.
We have almost got our egg and our orange completely done at the moment. We can lift the lid, and you can see that I've added some herbs. I've added a type of basil that we find over here. This is Ossimum canum, and a fantastic sweet addition to this particular egg. Oh, just smells so nice. Alrighty, now the time to test. Let's take the lid off. Let's move this without burning myself too badly. No, my pliers are going to be a much easier thing to do this, and just clean them off. You try and reduce sand in these things as much as you can, to be quite honest, but it doesn't always work. Okay, as you can see, it is about done. It's a little bit soft on the one side. I'm looking forward to exactly how it tastes, to be quite honest with you. Now, we are getting a little bit of breakup, I'm told, but it's not to worry. That is just because we probably have a tree or something in the way of ourselves and our tower. So let's split the orange down the middle. It hasn't run out, which is a good thing. Yes, it's looking very promising. So let's take this. Now, Kevin, you have just said that you're going to be making this breakfast for your kids tomorrow morning. I can honestly say, Kevin, that this is one of the absolute best breakfasts out there. Not just in the bush, but you can have it almost any time. There you go. Ow, 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 ow. It is so hot. Alright, I see the middle hasn't quite cooked, but that's not going to stop me from eating it. You know, a bit of raw egg out here is not the end of the world. So I'm just busy making myself a fork from a piece of stick. Obviously, the grabbier the fork, the better. And then, let's give it a bash. Get some ossimum. There we go. An orangey egg, basil. Oh, that is so good. Alright. Oh, yeah, man. Breakfast for being so close to an elephant. Alright, you're off to James. We'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Now, before Stef ate his breakfast, he was handling a millipede. A millipede, like this one, is filled with cyanide. I didn't see Stef wash his hands, did you, David?
Nope.
No. So if you're going to eat breakfast, you need a knife and fork, and if you have a knife and fork, well, you may as well get some decent breakfast, wouldn't you say? So that's what we've done here. The tent lives in 2017, and we're going to have a delicious breakfast here. Now, before I complete my breakfast, because it's rude to eat in front of other people when they don't have anything nice to eat, I'm going to show you an astounding little creature that is also a lion. Look at, oh, hang on a second, look at that. This is our microscope feed, everybody, and that is an adult ant lion, and it's quite closely related to the damselflies and to the dragonflies. And the larva is called an ant lion because it eats ants, and it lies in a little pit. And eventually, well, when ants walk past the pit, it throws sand up at them. The ants fall down into the pit, it grabs them and eats them. And you know, the most interesting thing about that sort of behavior is that the junior ant lion, the larva, has no anus. Now, that means that it eats hundreds and hundreds of ants without getting rid of any waste products, and then it pupates and it produces this rather remarkable and beautiful creature here. And the first action that this pupa has, or that this adult has, is to deliver a very large white pellet to the earth, which is the result of all of the youngsters' detritus or muck that gathered in its intestine. Isn't that astounding? Right, so that is the ant lion, a very beautiful ant lion. I don't think I'm going to put it anywhere near my breakfast. I think we're going to toss it out to be free, and from an ant lion, let us go to a lion.
Well, there we go. You can see that face of the buffalo that they've absolutely gnawed off. The tongue's gone. Now, there's a very cute thing happening. Well, a bit macabrely cute. Now, the one lioness is still eating. The one cub doesn't really want to eat, and she's actually just sort of playing with her food. And see how she hooks. Look at that. Hooks her claws in, rolls around, pretends she's catching it. So the equivalent of the backyard games for a lion cub. Now, all this type of playing is actually good practice. As they get older, all those skills are going to come in as they need to catch buffalo themselves. She's only about 6.5 months old, so she's still got a little while before she's going to be pouncing on buffalo. But hopefully we're going to be right here when that happens. We are incredibly lucky to follow these animals day in and day out. There we go. Catch that buffalo. Belly's full. It's time to play. And shortly after time to play comes nap time. Now, lions with bellies like this will probably sleep for about... Oh, look at it go! Catch it! Oh, it's amazing. Now, this is live. This little lion cub is playing with her food live from the middle of the African bush, from the greater Kruger National Park, 8.5 million acres of wilderness wonderland. And as I said, after playtime comes nap time. There's a wonderful, wonderful South African saying in Afrikaans, which is Magie vol, oogies toe. And what that means is belly full, eyes closed. And I think that's what a lot of these lions are going to be shortly. And there's another little one just grooming. Now, the amazing thing about these particular lions is I've managed to spend so much time with them. I've walked into them on foot, and I've actually seen them catch buffalo live, and I'm really hoping to be able to share that experience with you in the coming 6 weeks of these live safaris every Sunday night on Nat.Geo Wild. As I say, it's an unbelievable privilege and pleasure for us to be able to share the magnificence of African wildlife with you while you sit at home, and get to bring you a little bit of magic, because for me, being out in the African bush is truly magic, and it was the only place I was meant to be. Hi, Kevin in Washington. Kevin would like to know how long the lions are going to feed on this meat. Now, Kevin, with this amount of lions here, I think they'll probably finish up tomorrow morning. If another lioness or the other 2 lionesses that are missing from the Pride arrive, or one of those males arrive, it could be finished before midnight this evening. So it all just depends on how many lions. They have an incredibly fast digestive system, so even they have glutted themselves and created these rotund bellies. And there's one very rotund belly just behind us there. Brian's about to show you behind the bush. Look at that. Too fat to lie on its stomach, just trying to get comfortable with that belly, but they will be able to digest that incredibly quickly, and that's one of the positives of having a protein only diet that the lions do. They do digest very quickly, and this enables them to start feeding again quite shortly. It enables them to maximize their time on the carcass. Now, there's a couple of evolutionary reasons for this, the main one being that they can eat as much as possible before their carcasses may be stolen by males, other lions, or hyenas. Now, they've got through most of the good bits. The heart's gone, the lungs are gone, the liver's gone, the kidneys are gone. And so now it's down to the brisket, which that little cub is getting really tucked into. And of course the rump's mostly gone now. But as I said, there's still quite a bit of meat left on this buffalo. It's not the particularly big buffalo. I reckon probably weighs about 700-800 pounds. A big bull buffalo can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. So, but still a really lovely meal for these incredible Nkuhumas. Now, the funny thing is, you don't get to see stuff like this very often. I mean, we've got lions on a buffalo kill, but something you don't see very often at all is a leopard on a buffalo kill. So let's go back to Jamie.
A leopard scavenging off a very, very old buffalo, and what a truly spectacular morning it has been, although possibly not so much for the buffalo and the tortoise that have been on this morning's safari. So while our little leopard cub enjoys his breakfast of beef jerky, we're hoping that at some point in the not too distant future we're going to see a reunion between his mother Nkanyeni and little Vutomi, who at the moment looks so tiny and really quite lonely in his little position here as he grates away with his teeth at a very, very meager breakfast. Hopefully Mom is on the way, or hopefully she will be on the way in the not too distant future, and bringing with her news of something a little bit more substantial. Hey, little one. It's a bit of a tough time in the life of a young leopard, but each and every leopard has to pass through this period where their moms go back into estrus or heat, start to mate again, and they face the future that will be theirs in a few months' time, when it will be time to leave their mom completely. It is almost the end of our safari, but when you join us on the next 6 installments, hopefully we will have some more news for you about Vutomi and his mother. It is definitely something that we'd love to share with you. There are so many more incredible stories to tell you and so many more incredible leopard characters to see that I can't wait until we meet again next week. We can fill you in on what's happened and hopefully bring you more incredible moments. But I think we should finish off with a view of this beautiful little leopard boy, since he is so very special looking. Hey, gorgeous, thank you for making our morning truly spectacular. And also, of course, a big thank you to all of you for making our morning spectacular as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sending through your questions and your comments. Don't forget to join us, same time, same place, next week, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Nat.Geo Wild on a Sunday evening, where we can bring you more spectacular stories just like this.